Jasmine here from the Academy of Animated Art. I was about to write you this feedback, but I thought it'd be easier just to say it out loud. Okay, so first off, I think this is a huge improvement, and I can definitely see that you're looking at the reference a lot when you're doing this procedural, especially. I'm going to focus more on the procedural just instead of the painted. I mean, we can talk about both, but I think a lot more learnings can be told about the procedural. I totally agree with the blurriness. I thought the same thing even before I read your comment. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I mean, check that there's no filter there. I mean, I'm assuming this is a ramp. So also check what kind of ramp it is, because sometimes, like, depending on the ramp, it will go more softer with the gradient. So check with that. But besides that, let's just look at the overall picture here, because I think you're definitely getting closer. I will agree that the bump and the displacement and having a normal map, definitely a huge thing with this, but let's just look at color, right? And I like to just focus on one thing at a time sometimes, because it can be overwhelming to try to hit all the things. So one thing, just looking at it at this level, not kind of zooming in on it, I would say, like, squint your eyes. Like, it's okay that this is blurry, because we can see a lot from just like looking at it blurry almost. But if I kind of squint my eyes, and what I'm trying to do is like get the overall picture and the tones, and if I just squint my eyes, I can see that the lightest tone is right over here, right before it goes dark, right? And then even though this is light in here, it's still lightest mostly on the outside. I mean, partially due to this reflection, but overall there's still lightness here. So if I look at yours, it's almost the same color here as the inner and the outer. So that's something that, you know, I would say that could be kind of toned down to kind of give it that more variance. And it's also a lot more saturated right here in this color tone compared to this one. So that's something I can bring down. And also looking at the outer rim, like, you definitely brought it down, and I could see it here and it matches the color. But look at the reference. One, it's a little bit wider in width, but it's softer too, right? It kind of has this bleeding and softness, where this feels like more of an outline. So that's something to kind of look into as well. And these are like the subtle things that you want to look at whenever you are texturing something, lighting anything. You want to just look at these kind of things to try to have some reference points and match it. So, and then overall, you know, like, I think you did a really good job of differentiating this inner area where you have this tighter texture, this different texture in the outer. I think, I mean, like, again, if I do the squint test, I'm even seeing more of a definition right here between that. It's like kind of this darker edge. I feel like you can definitely emphasize that more. And of course, when you make this a little bit darker, it will help that as well. So start with that. And I think it's, you know, definitely in a much better place than it was before. And then the painted, I'd be curious, painted is an interesting thing, right? Because there's only so much you can do with a painted. That's why I was kind of focusing on the procedural. And I think procedural is actually more challenging, but then also way more control, right? And once you master procedural, you have a lot more power. So that's why I was kind of honing in on this. With this, you know, you can, of course, paint a lot of the stuff that I mentioned, but since it is painted, you only have so much that you can do, unless you're a really good fine painter, which might be true. So this, like, I almost think like painted, you get, the focus is actually more getting a really good painted texture from the start, right? Paying, or, you know, getting that high res textures from stock or whatever. But here, I think, is where most of the learning can come in, and where you can really hone in your shading skills. So I hope that helped, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.